The Stanley Parable offers an achievement if you don't play for 5 years. I'm about 3.5 years into it. XCOM 2, I had gotten really attached to a soldier I had named after me, and then he died and I quit for about 2 months. Anytime I get really far in a game and the save corrupts or I forget to save and die and get put back really far, I usually don't play it again for a really long time. I saved over my original Resident Evil 4 file that had the Chicago typewriter and infinite launcher. I just couldn't go back. I recently played it again 10 years later, but the loss still weighs heavy. Obvious answer, but Pokemon Go. The step tracking was broken. So instead of fixing it, they decided to remove tracking altogether, because it wasn't the system they wanted it to be. So the only way to track Pokemon was through online maps. Then they started hunting down those websites and taking them down. That killed the game. I had enjoyed the first Bioshock on Steam and decided to play the second. It told me I needed to make a Microsoft account or something. I said no. The game said okay and let me play anyway. Awesome. Score 1 for me. Then about 2 hours later I went to quit and it said yeah, you can't save unless you make an account. Fine. I'll make an account. You can't make an account unless you quit the game. But I can't save unless I have an account. Tough. When I was like 10 years old, I used to be obsessed with Final Fantasy XI to the point of addiction. I shared an account with my 16-year-old brother and far surpassed him because of the sheer amount of time I spent playing. One day the game glitches and all of my expensive weapons and armor are totally gone. My character was just naked. I had worked so hard I actually cried. Alas, I ended up working just as hard again and getting everything back in a couple of months. Then the same thing happened again. So I rage quit forever. Recently I was talking to my fiance registered sign about how I love this game and what happened, and he said there's no way that's what happened. Your brother totally stole all your stuff, and I was like no way he would have done that. So I texted him and asked. He replied yes, I'm sorry. I was a bastard. It's still all on my account if you want to go back and play it. I still have yet to go back. I spent 15ish years thinking the game had just glitched. Edit. Fixed the word, and wow, I wasn't expecting this. First of all, I am a girl. And second, I forgive my brother. His response was actually kinda funny to me at the time. Especially because I didn't figure it out and it was all so obvious, so I will not be killing him. Got rid of local split screen. What kind of is that? Star Wars Galaxies. When they did that stupid giant change to make it more WoW-like or whatever. I played the original RuneScape back in the early 2000s. I stopped playing after I lost my R2H and never rejoined. When Rust did the big update, everyone was hoping for some hacker protection on the servers, but instead they dumped out a whole different game. Not quit completely, but I almost quit San Andreas because of the airplane missions and another one that's mentioned a lot on Reddit that deals with a train. Eve. Eve is real and internet pixels matter. But I came to the realization that I had no real life. So I quit cold turkey 4 years ago. Though I'm just playing other games now. They don't consume my every waking moment like Eve did. I used to play a board game called Axis and Allies with my brother and some friends. Setup for this game took forever and the game skid last weeks. We were in the middle of a game. About 3 days or so of pain. When it happened, one of us bumped the table. All the pieces went everywhere and that was essentially the end of our big board gaming adventure. I absolutely love board games of all kinds, but the lengthy setup, difficulty finding players, and the storage requirements of having a large game library make it impractical. Club Penguin. Server shutdown. In Terraria, the constant fear of the corruption spreading terrifies me. I stopped playing all games made by Telltale when I realized nothing you do matters. If I wanted to watch a TV show with bad writing, I would. The frame rate drops in Just Cause 3. I love the Just Cause series, but Just Cause 3 had too many technical issues, so I quit before I finished the campaign. I'm not sure the exact moment, but as I was getting deeper into the Skyrim main quest, I saw the same dungeon for the 50th time and just alt F4'd and never looked back. I know Sims doesn't make me a gamer, but I was playing for 2 days straight during the summer a couple years back and the game crashed and I lost everything I had done. I haven't played since. Halo 5 got rid of local multiplayer. I played multiplayer for a month or two after I'd beaten the campaign and then I never picked up the game again. I'll probably get Halo 6 for the campaign, but if they don't bring back the split screen, I doubt I'll even play the new multiplayer. Kind of getting sick of the franchise as it is. Battlefield Heroes. Increase in game prices of weapons, so playing for free wasn't fun anymore unless you played hours per day. Full stop. Oblivion. I somehow wandered into an area that I could not escape from. Fight my way out or hide in. I was too young to find a solution. Also League of Legends. I finally decided spending 4-6 hours a day to improve my rank in a game of horrible people which my friends already quit wasn't worth it. Apart from taking away most of my waking hours due to a minor addiction, Dota 2's toxicity level was way too high for me. I have 1k hours and I have no desire to ever step foot in that cesspool again. Shout out to all the pleasant players who made the experience awesome, but it's too bad the toxic players are in far greater abundance. There will be new weapons that you can get from these loot crates. Don't worry, they will be cosmetic only. Play testing revealed that the melee weapons were faster, and one of the weapons ended up being the most broken combo I've ever seen in an online game. I don't care if COD is doing World War II now. It's too late for me. I know they'll duck it up somehow. Probably literally my 20th Skyrim character. I used survival mods, required for you to stay warm, dry, fed, quenched, rested, to increase immersion and stretch out the game to make it feel timeless. When I maxed out enchanting and was able to have 100% free destruction spells and cast OP end game spells for free, I realized that I had done everything there was to do in Skyrim. I'm at peace with the 2000 hours it gave me, but I doubt I'll ever play again. In Red Dead Redemption, I tried to keep that white horse that you captured at the beginning of the game for as long as I possibly could. After completing about 85% of the game, I was riding down a steep and curvy mountain cliff when a wolf or coyote or whatever attacked my horse and it fell off the mountain into its death. After not playing for a few weeks because of this, a friend wanted to play online together. He told me he wanted to show me something in the game. After about 40 minutes of riding up a mountain, he tells me to stop and look at something in the distance. He proceeds to knock me off of the cliff and I fall to my death. I sold the game to GameStop for about $11. Far Cry 4. Was playing in co-op with a friend and we found out we were gated by single player. We couldn't go to new areas unless both of us, separately, completed more SP missions. Couldn't be done in co-op. Killed the game for me. Also, Star Wars Commander. It was an okay mobile game. Just kinda mindless, which I enjoyed. However, it got to a point where I couldn't do anything unless I participated in PvP, which I didn't care for at all. So I dropped that game. Honorable mention to Space Engineers. The MP netcode in that game can be so terrible it makes the game basically unplayable if you're not the host. That game is still in early access, still, for years, so I'll eventually go back to it, I'm sure, whenever the netcode is not frustrating. Introduce jump packs. Duck you cod. Ducking Chocobo racing in Final Fantasy X. Tried to get a perfect score for like 10 hours. Got so pissed off I deleted my save. My level 98 Amazon got killed in the Bloodmoor by a quill rat after a patch, and there were no options to redistribute my skill or talent point. Battlefield 4. I played only in noob rooms, and 99% of the time, just kept getting killed. I managed to get a kill once in a while, but was not getting any better, so I quit. As a kid I played Sid Meier's Pirates on the Wii and loved it. Then I found out the hard way you can't play it forever. Everything about the character aging went way over my head. The Last of Us. There was this part where you literally dropped into a darkened basement filled with at least 2 bloaters and I chickened out hard for a year. When I returned, my strategy was flawless. Run like hell to the exit and just skip that section. It worked. When Halo started getting weird, suddenly with fighting alien ghosts and stuff, The story went off the rails and I sort of stopped caring about it. Combat felt different, terrible, even. I can't put my finger on why that is, but it became so much less rewarding. The new weapons were terrible and the new enemies were dull. Just really dull in my opinion. Add to that the different equipment loadouts in multiplayer, which felt way too much like COD, and suddenly the game no longer felt like the shooter I grew up with. Insulted my haircut and kicked my dog. When it takes too long to actually play the game. If I'm not in control within 10 minutes I feel like you probably should have just made a movie. Skyrim makes me so motion sick I have to lie down after 10 minutes. I tried every camera option and stabilizer mod I could find. Nothing helped. I'm really sad, cause I want to play it. I just started playing The Witcher 1 and I got up to a part where you have to get past a schizophrenic grandmother to let you into the house to see Shani. I finally got in somehow and Shani wasn't even home. The grandma kept walking up to me and initiating a conversation with no options while I was looting the place. I think I'm done. League of Legends. Played for a few hours. Was in a bot game at like level 5 or 6. Had a guy get angry at something I apparently did wrong. Still have no idea what it was. Spent the next 5 minutes itching at me in chat before he just left. Never played another game. If a new player can't make mistakes, I'll never figure out how to be any good. My GF and I were avid Pokemon Go players for 4 months following release. It was a ton of fun but my frustrations compiled due to bad servers, low spawn and capture rates, how grindy it was, spoofers, etc. Things came to a head when one day I was driving down the road and she says there's an Alakazam coming up. I pull over. She catches it within 30 seconds. I pull out my phone, open the app, and IT freezes. I waited for a minute or so then finally restarted my phone. And of course by the time the damn app opens the Alakazam has despawned. That was the first time I had seen something that wasn't a Rattata Pidgey Bellsprout Nidoran in about a week. I uninstalled later that day and haven't played again, and never intend to. I got into Overwatch pretty late as I was tired of FPS games and the beta didn't impress me. Then I played during a free weekend and had a really good time so I bought the game. I ended up really enjoying the game until I played a competitive match and had a guy named Delta berate me the entire game to the point where the game was no longer fun. It completely took the wind out of my enjoyment of the game. I've logged in only a couple times to check out the last couple events. The thing is in competitive matches you drop your team after each match so you're always paired with new players. Why he got so insanely mad is beyond me. And further, the game is designed to put you around a 50% win rate so you're never going to win every game. Losing is a part of playing, but yeah, I don't play the game anymore because of him. Games allowing a toxic environment are no longer fun. I have no time for that in my life. Connect to the ducking internet. Fighting games that have god-awful PC servers like what the heck. When Bungie released another DLC for Destiny, not included in the season pass, which was required to do basically everything, it ticked me off so bad. Then they made it so you couldn't buy that DLC without buying the whole game again. Like, what? Zelda II, Final Dungeon. All this pain and agony only to find out that you can't damage the Thunderbird without using the most expensive spell. And yes, I had to heal a lot throughout the palace. That's what you get for playing blind. But seriously, duck that game. Love Zelda series, but Castlevania II did the same thing way better. EDT, Mr. Word. One of the games in the Tales series. Over 2 hours between save points. No, I didn't miss a save point in between. I had watched a super long cutscene and fought a pretty difficult boss and then had to find a way out of the prison facility I was in. After that, I was too irritated to keep playing. I can understand maybe an hour between saves, but 2 hours is ridiculous. I was 8 years old and I was at the house of a parent's friends and was rather bored while my mom and her friend were talking over tea. Mom's friend's husband turned on the PlayStation and let me play a game I've never heard about before called Mortal Kombat. Ivy? I don't know precisely. Anyway, I do badly in the game. Lose the match easily. and then the fatality occurred where my character's flesh was ripped from his bones. Instantly I turned off the PlayStation and cried on the couch. Final Fantasy IX. Disc 3 of the game had a bug or something, and every one of them that they made in that batch were all like that. You were in this mine, climbed up a ladder and the game would freeze. I want to say your save was ruined too because I remember getting another copy, playing all the way through to that same spot, and the same thing happening. Said screw this game and didn't try again. Fairly recently, I bought a used PS1 and a box of games. That included FFIX and I will be damned if didn't play all the way through and the same thing happened when I hit that ladder. Duck that game. I don't want to beat it. Dota 2 the disgusting community. RuneScape. They did a huge graphics update around 2010 and my poor computer wasn't able to play the game anymore. I had a level 105 character and I had to quit playing cold turkey. Was loving Civ 6 but then a game breaking bug which amazingly still hasn't been fixed reared its ugly head. In the late game it will start to crash and there's nothing that can be done about it. Phyrexes and the Civ community are extremely hostile to anyone who mentions it. I was a corp leader in EVE Online. Think guild. I was addicted to the game, lying to my wife, and not facing my personal issues. I quit cold turkey. It was a D-move what I did. I transferred leadership, sold everything, gave all my money to the corp wallet, and sent out a letter telling them what's up and haven't looked back. A year later, I have a beautiful son whom I love so much. My wife and I have a wonderful marriage again, and in going back to school next month to become a police officer, quitting EVE was the best decision for me. I was once playing MMOG revolving around building cities and expanding your empire. The game was called Travian. Approximately 20k player were playing the game on a single server. I was playing the game as a robber with a strong alliance having my back. I controlled all of my troop movements from my capital. Thus the troops ate way more food than the capital produced. On this server, I was the second or third best robber for an extended period of time. So you can imagine how big my army was. The problems with my vast army came at night. Before going to sleep, I had to adjust all the troop movements so that enough food is available for them to eat. Some troops had to arrive in 20 minutes, 40 minutes, 60 minutes, or my army would starve to death. Because I had to go to school during this time, I always had to adjust huge troop movements in the morning and before going to sleep. It was way too much work for my teenage mind. So I stopped doing it after several weeks. I asked my alliance members if I can park my troops in their cities. In the end, I attacked a huge defense force of an enemy of my alliance and never entered the game again.